your take on generative AI. How do you see Gen AI evolving, especially in the today's digital landscape?
Our approach towards the technology has been changed completely.
Yeah.
And the Gen AI has made us like a more towards the accuracy and the decision making faster. That is one of the key criteria which I can see has enabled the Gen AI. Okay.
What Gen AI is going to do is not yet exposed completely to everyone.
Yeah.
This is the start of something. Gen AI is something which is as big as what the internet did to the mankind 30 years back.
Hello, you're watching CIO News. I am Khusbhu Soni, the founder and Chief Editor at CIO News. Today, on this episode, we are talking about driving change with generative AI. And for that, I have two industry veterans who've joined me on this episode. We have Mr. Sandesh Shinde, the Chief Information Officer from FIS Global Business Solutions. We also have Sachith Rajagopal, who is the National Business Head from Exotel. Thank you both for joining me today, and I'm really looking forward to having this conversation with you both.
Thanks, Khusbhu.
Fantastic. So to begin with, I actually wanted to put my first question to you, sir. You have over 3 decades of experience in the information technology domain, specifically working with various industries. If you can tell us, what really inspired you to be a part of this domain specifically and specialize in this domain?
Yeah, thanks. So, I started my journey as a field engineer. It is almost 33 years before 1989 I started my career. So 1989, if you look into that, the IT industry is only, it is like a PCs, desktops was there basically. So I was a field engineer. I used to interact, I used to go on a field and interact with the various customers. And majorly our customers are from the manufacturing, banking, telecom, pharma, all sectors of the industries. I used to interact with all customers basically. In that, I have more interested with the banking sector because the bank was coming up, there is an evolution was happening in the banking sector that moment. Okay. Fortunately, I got a chance to, move from my field engineering to the SI department, which is primarily managing the banking sector. And then my first project was with RBI. So RBI has given me a lot of about the banking, how the banking operation works basically. And that is the days of 90s basically. Okay. After that, I then interacted with the various banks through that SI engagement in India, and then later on I moved to the US basically. In the US also, fortunately, I was interacting most of the financial sector only. Fortunately, 10 years before I got an opportunity to work with the FIS, which is a fintech company, and which is not in banking, they are in payment also basically. Right. So I was more interested in both the things, banking and the payment. So to know the banking as well as payment business and what we can do in better in this particular industry. So when I got opportunity with the FIS, first I got a project which is related to the payment, which was like migrating one of the ATM switch of one of the largest bank in India to new switch. Okay. And so that gives me about the payment, how the payment runs basically, how the payment works basically across the banking industry basically. Later on, then I got one of the major deployment, that is the Bharatiya Mahila Bank. You might have heard basically, which was an initiative by the Manmohan Singh, as to have some bank for the Mahila Bank basically kind of thing. So that entire thing setup was done by me. Okay, so there I got interaction about the various banking people as well as what other things need to be required to set up the particular bank. Okay. And based on that, then my journey started to deploy the infrastructure as well as application, everything, and for the various bank, which includes like a bank like a Bandhan, and then a lot of small finance bank, which I done it basically. So FS has given a lot of good experience and knowledge about the banking and the payment industry, and which has made me managing the CEO operation for the FS India and the FS Australia for the banking and the payment industry.
Fantastic. This is really a very, very incredible journey. All right. Now, before we really move forward, I wanted to hear from both of you on your take on generative AI. How do you see Gen AI evolving, especially in the today's digital landscape. So, maybe I'll start with you, sir, and then Sanchit coming to you.
Our approach towards the technology has been changed completely.
Yeah.
And the Gen AI has made us like a more towards the accuracy and the decision making faster. That is one of the key criteria which I can see has enabled the Gen AI. Okay. Earlier the Gen AI, before the Gen AI, everything is done by the specific programming people. They are able to control the software basically. Okay.
Right.
As well as the people who was having the good business amount of money basically, they used to invest in the software basically. But being a Gen AI coming into the market basically, okay, the accessibility has been reached up to the every normal people basically. So now the accessibility of some of the softwares which was not able to access earlier can be easily accessed by the normal users also. That is one of the good thing which I can see. The landscape has been changed, technology landscape has been changed from to across everybody basically in the even if the person is not a part of the digital platform also, he can able to use the digital platform easily. That is one of the major advantage of the Gen AI which has come up. So this is one of the things which I can see. The Gen AI has brought the accessibility across everywhere.
Absolutely.
Anybody can access have the chat GPT kind of a thing basically. He can install and he can do whatever he wants to do basically kind of thing.
Right.
So that is the kind of a thing which has happened after the Gen AI has come into the picture.
Right. Sanchit, your thoughts on this?
So,
yeah.
I completely agree with what Sandesh said, but a couple of thoughts from my side. One is that I think what Gen AI is going to do is not yet exposed completely to everyone.
Yeah.
This is the start of something. Gen AI is something which is as big as what the internet did to the mankind 30 years back. What the steam engine would have done, what had done to mankind during those times. It's that big invention. And we'll only see the power of Gen AI in the coming years. That's one.
Yeah.
In the digital landscape, if you look at it, it has, like Sandesh rightly said, put everybody on a leveled playing ground. Because earlier the accesses were limited. Now everyone has access to Gen AI, with OpenAI especially coming in. And people have started utilizing Gen AI in such a way that it is unique to every single organization or offering, and it can adapt to whatever that particular organization needs to deliver, right? For the biggest advantage of human beings is their intelligence.
Yeah.
Right? And intelligence, along with say our abilities and talent, is what makes us complete. Now, of course, intelligence can have its own limitations. We might have references to get intelligence and things like that. Now imagine we just need the talent and ability. The intelligence is something which is available on the air because Gen AI is powering that.
Correct.
So with that coming in, every human being is now being powered with intelligence which they require to complete their task, making efficiency better.
Right.
So I think in the digital landscape, that is the kind of change that we are going to see. Absolutely. So it's very, very important that we learn as human beings how to work along with Gen AI, not to be super dependent on it 100% because that can have its own repercussions, but working along Gen AI, learning how to use Gen AI as a tool is the most important factor right now in the digital landscape. In future it can change.
Yes.
Just to add on this point basically is that as of now, if you look into the data, evaluation of the data, because as a user we create a lot of data and that data is available to what is the use of that data. So Gen AI has come into the picture to use that data and utilize that data in a proper way to make a faster decision and accurate decision.
Correct.
So the thing is that everything is happening because of us only, because we generate a lot of data, and that data has to be utilized for the proper decision making with accuracy for the betterment of the people basically. Okay.
Correct.
That's why the Gen AI has evolved, and it is it's been coming everybody's life within next 2 years, I can say basically.
Absolutely.
That is going to, already it has been some way it is there basically, but then after 2 years it is going to be everybody's life will be driven by the Gen AI.
It's had its own journey. I mean, cloud had its own journey, right? So I'm very sure Gen AI will also have its own journey, and over the time, I think we all will start accept and start finding new ways of living with it, in fact, right? But yeah, I'm very optimistic about technology because it really transforms and evolves us as humans as well. So fantastic. We all have been seeing the rise of Gen AI. If we can talk about, Sandesh, if you can throw some light of how Gen AI is or can be leveraged in the banking segment, especially for enhancing the customer experience, doing predictive analysis, and even for fraud detection. How do you see the role of Gen AI there?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, data is one of the things, is a key criteria for the Gen AI basically. Okay. Yeah. Now, as a customer, if I'm a banking customer, okay, I normally every bank gives what are the services currently available. It's a standard thing, okay. Yeah. But as a customer, I'm looking beyond that. What I can get a personalized way of services and product. That is every customer is now currently looking. Traditional banking has been gone now. Okay, everybody is coming back with what I can get, how my money can get better utilized, or how I can get a better services from the bank. Okay. So Gen AI is going to get betterment for banking in terms of analyzing the data of every customer data, understanding what is the customer requirement, specific customer requirement, and having a personalized product and services for that particular customers, which is going to bring stability in terms of it is going to increase the customer satisfaction, and that customer will feel that should be loyal with this particular bank kind of a thing. Okay?
Yes.
So that loyalty is going to come achieved by having this kind of AI generated techniques, or the new products and services going to come. So this is one of the things is going to get changed, okay, in terms of the banking and payment industry. Coming back to the fraud, okay, definitely in current scenario we have a lot of vulnerabilities, as well as hacking happens basically, and that is security attacks happen basically, and more towards the banking and the financial institute. That is a major thing it has happens basically. We can see every day the number of attacks are getting increased. Yeah. By having a AI in place, basically we are able to predict what are the things are going to happen basically. Correct. Based on the prediction, and then some of the attacks can be avoided.
Correct.
This is from the security perspective, we can have better control on that, as well as fraud detections, because currently we have seen that so many people are coming with their own things and utilizing their own methodology to cheat the users basically. Okay, so that kind of fraud detection can be done immediately, and it can be stopped there itself. Okay,
right.
So that is one of the things is going to happen in banking and the payment industry, which I feel that by having a AI basically.
Absolutely. And in fact, I think specifically for customer experience, because in India, I really don't like using a chat bot when I have any problem, because what happens is you put a query, you'll have 2-3 options to select from. You choose that, and there are another 3 options that are given. If your answer is not from that, you don't have a solution. You would need to find another alternate channel. So I feel generative AI can really play a good role here, because it based on all the data inputs coming with all omni-channel solutions, it can actually understand customer sentiments. It can really generate responses and not just use the predefined options.
Right.
Yeah, especially in India. I don't think we are for a bot who would just have a defined response. That is the reason people today here still rely of talking to a human being. So I'm hoping that it can be a real use case. I really don't know if that's already been implemented. Maybe Sachith, you can tell us.
So yes, this is something which is already in play.
Okay.
Many companies have already started adopting it. So like you said, right, not everybody wants to speak to a chatbot who doesn't have an answer to the problem. So with Gen AI coming into picture, say personalization is also captured of what that person's interest is, what their past transactional history, what is the current issue, or whatever they are reaching out about. All that is captured, and Gen AI tries to provide a solution which is amicable. Okay?
Right.
So a normal chatbot might have certain set of, say, predefined answers, predefined sets of questions which is answered for them, and it can only be limited until there. But with Gen AI coming in, that intelligence layer comes in. It starts to understand, okay, so this is a new problem which has been tossed up to me. let me see from whatever information I have, what has been the past resolution for, say, such a problem.
Correct.
You can bring that out and then start giving the resolution. Now, it doesn't just limit to, say, something like a chatbot. I'm quoting that since you took that example. If you look at, say, any medium out there, it is possible today. So just to give you a very simple example, when you are, say, trying to get an insurance, or you're trying to, book an AC repair, for example, there are multiple mediums through which you try to reach, the support center. It could have started via a call, and after that there was no response, so then you went to a chat. Afterwards, you might be using, say, a WhatsApp chat for that, all that we know. So there are multiple avenues today using which you are doing this. The problem is that the context get lost in between channels, right? Now imagine a Gen AI coming in. It's understanding the context of what each channel spoke to a particular customer, and then once context comes in, now the Gen AI is able to think and give an answer. So this was the problem, this is the solution. I think that is where Gen AI is going to bring an incredible output when compared with, say, traditional channels which is there today, which doesn't have an intelligence layer.
Since you've interacted with a lot of CIOs and I've also seen a new designation coming up as Chief AI Officer. So, So while you've interacted with them, as Exotel, I'm sure you have done quite a few implementations around Gen AI. Were there any challenges that you have seen in terms of use case or any implementation challenges that you've seen?
First and foremost, like I said earlier, right now, companies are taking baby steps when it comes to Gen AI. I wouldn't call that as a challenge, but they are cautious to start with.
Right.
Especially in a market like India. The challenges, I would say, use case is not a challenge. Everybody wants to solve for use cases. But the challenges that we are seeing is, one, compliance is a huge aspect in India for any industry, right? BFSI especially.
Right.
So data compliance, so when SaaS started or when cloud started, again, even today there are companies who are thinking of compliance on cloud, right? And they're reluctant to move. Similarly, when it comes to Gen AI also, compliance is going to become a huge factor. And we are seeing that with companies. So companies are like, if I'm exposing my data to, say, an engine, which has access to the outside world, will my data get manipulated? That's one. Will it get corrupt? There's my user data, because personalization has to come in. All these are questions which is coming in. So there is an exercise of caution which is happening. That's one. But if people are past it, then implementation, we have not seen much of a challenge. The only challenge that we have seen on implementation, however, is India being a market, again, highly regulated market. There are asks of, say, getting on-premise deployment of Gen AI, etc., which technically, though it is possible, might be a tad difficult to implement per se, right? People are still thinking through, and there are cases where they've achieved it also. In fact, the day before yesterday, I guess, Microsoft launched their new PC range, Copilot Plus Surface, right? The uniqueness of that is that it has got a chip inside the PC, which actually can, it's a Gen AI based chip, which can actually give you answers to all your queries even without an internet. And it is learning on the fly as to what your usage is and things like that. So which means, in a way, on-premise Gen AI has already been implemented by Microsoft. Right? So they are setting the path there. It's only a matter of time when that same technology can come in, and then we'll be able to do that in India also in an implementation perspective. So I think we are getting there. The challenges are slowly getting resolved. The cautions are coming down. It will come down, as time passes, and maybe in the next 6 months to 1 year, we'll have at least, say, 10-15% of the organization start adopting Gen AI. Then the changes will start, and then everybody will want to follow.
Correct.
So this is exactly what's going to happen, is what I believe.
Right. Just to add his point, data security is one of the major concerns, basically. Okay, that is one of the things which is bothering. That's why in banking sector we are not able to move from the on-prem to the cloud. Because some of the application has been moved to the cloud, but not all. Okay, and that is because of the data security. Even this Gen AI, when you are talking about that, if it is on-prem, that's okay, that is within your control. But when it is at a centralized or at somewhere at the cloud location, then we are not sure about how the data has been secure. So regulation comes into this plays a maximum role over here. I seen day before yesterday one news in newspaper, basically where the government of India is thinking about to invest 2000 CR in terms of the developing the AI competency within India, okay, and they are going to have the dedicated ministry kind of a thing basically which can control the AI, okay.
Right.
So that is one of the article which I said that's good basically, at least our government started thinking on that line where we can enable ourselves in a AI for next 2 years and we can have better regulation on that particular line.
Right.
I see the country like Dubai, okay, where already there is a minister who just control on the AI perspective, AI deployment within the country basically.
Right.
So that is good basically. So same thought process is getting flow in India,
Yeah.
which I'm expecting which will happen now near future basically. So that is going to control, having a lot of regulation in terms of the AI deployment. So let's see.
That is an interesting, I think, movement by the government. Wonderful. Sandesh, you have, we've seen you've done remarkably great contributions in the whole digital banking solutions for the millions of, banked citizens. If you can share some of the complexities that have come along the way when driving these changes.
Yeah, innovation in the digital banking and payments are happening very well, no doubt about that. But there is one catch I can tell is about the one way we are developing a new product, new services, but user education is not there, which is creating sometimes it's a problem for us in terms of security, in terms of, people are misusing the product also. So that user education has to be there first. When you launch any product or services, in India we are maximum customer base, okay, where that user education doesn't reach. So my humble request to anyone, to develop a new product or services, then first we have to think about the user education also, which will give us a betterment of that particular product can be used in better way and that services can be used in a better way actually.
Right.
So one of the challenge which I can say about the user education, which creates then frauds and other thing happens basically because user is not aware about the how to use that product and services, and that advantage has been taken care by the people who are outside, and they are just waiting for that opportunity.
Right.
So that is one thing. Second thing is the security. Security in terms of, as I mentioned earlier also, attacks are happening like on a daily basis, some other things are happening, okay.
Correct.
To controlling that attacks is very challenging, okay. Yeah. So we have to have the infrastructure which should be built in a secure way in such a way that, we'll not have that kind of attack basically. So nowadays, IT investment perspective, I think, developing a product and services, but I need to invest more on the security also.
Yes.
So that is one of the big challenge which I can say. Second challenge is, as day by day vulnerability is getting increased, so whatever the product which has been developed, okay, then again, as because of the vulnerability is there, then I have to find out the new patches, new releases, which takes time basically, because to developing that patches or releases requires some development efforts. It's not only development, it has to be tested thoroughly, and then after that we have to put it in a production. So that cycle is increasing basically, and the hackers take the advantage out of that particular things. Even though we develop the patches and releases, then deploying that which require a downtime also.
Right.
So like a application like a mobile banking or internet banking, where the people think that my mobile banking or internet banking should be available 24/7. Right. Nobody wants a downtime. If I'm also a user, I'm also a bank user basically, I also feel that I can do my transaction any moment basically. But then to maintain my that application, to address that vulnerability of that particular application, I require a downtime. Then availability is a biggest challenge also basically. Right. So security, availability, as well as being a technology changes are happening in such a way that everybody is coming with the new products.
Right.
So to remain in the competition, again, you have to develop, you have to invest more in your development and research, so that you have to understand what is required by the end customers, right. How you can incline that end customer requirement towards the new product development, and how you can bring that new product in the market as early as possible before the other competitors.
Correct.
So that is also one of the challenge, okay, to remain in the industry basically.
Yeah.
So these are a few challenges which I can say, when I'm managing this banking and the payment industry.
I mean, very aptly put, because I think one, like you said, there are early innovators and then the rest follows, right? So they are the risk takers is what we say. So, And we've seen fintechs have been, the top nose to actually take those risks and do those kind of innovation. And with that, security needs to be like a practice, and you can't just do like a tick in the box, or while you're doing some kind of innovation, you think about cybersecurity and leave it at that. So it again, it's a practice that the team needs to follow, that while the innovation is happening parallelly, the security needs to happen, security measures needs to be taken parallelly. So thank you for putting that across. If you can tell us, Sachith, that how Gen AI offering of Exotel is helping BFSI sector in terms of innovation. I'm sure, of course, Exotel is not driving cybersecurity, but when it comes to helping the aspect of innovation, how is Gen AI of Exotel really helping customers?
So, see, there are certain aspects of Gen AI which is still acceptable in the market as compliance solutions, right? So, we are ensuring that whatever Gen AI solutions that we are giving today are compliant in terms of regulatory as well as, say, any other body who is out there regulating for a particular organization. It is taken care of. And in that process, we have identified certain use cases which falls into all the compliance buckets. So, to give you an example, so audit of, say, calls or any kind of interaction mediums is a compliance from many of the BFSI bodies out there, right? Now, organizations have separate departments who need to do this compliances, where there is quite a bit of human effort required. Now, with Gen AI coming into picture, the way we have deployed it is in such a way that the data which we have in abundance from the conversation which has happened between, say, end customers and say the organizations, that is being analyzed, and the Gen AI is able to come out with, say, very much identifiable next set of actionables from those kind of interactions. What was the sentiment of the customer in those interactions? Okay, and were all the SOPs which were supposed to be spoken by the agent from, say, the organization side, has that been spoken? So all that audits, the checks, etc., which a human being used to, say, listen to the recordings and do scorings, etc. That now a Gen AI can do it in a jiffy, right? And while earlier the compliance was only towards 20% of, say, such interactions, where Gen AI can do 100% of that in less than half of the time, right? So that is the efficiency that we have brought in even BFSI companies wherever there is an audit compliance required today. And these are all, say, post-interaction analysis. So it's not regulated in a very high way from, say, the regulatory bodies either, because these are all within organizations. And we are able to give powerful insights using which, say, companies know now how to increase their CSATs, okay, how to train their agents better, what can be the KPIs which can be really, really measurable for the agents, and also what could be the next step on Gen AI as well. So from this, now what? Now what can next the Gen AI do? So the other use cases are getting discovered in the process as well. So this is now something that we are implementing on the ground, and we are able to implement this Gen AI not just to, say, to only one channel or anything like that. We can do it across, say, anything like voice or an SMS or a WhatsApp or a chatbot. You name it, and with that data we can do the analysis using a Gen AI tool. So that's the level at which we are operating now.
Sachith, if you can also throw some light on, from a competitive landscape perspective, how Exotel is, defining their go-to-market strategy when it comes to communications and AI and generative AI.
Okay, so one thing which makes us stand out is the fact that we have got the complete stack of communication, right? So from a CPaaS to a CCaaS to a conversational AI and a Gen AI layer on top of it, we have the complete stack with us. So which is not something which everyone can claim in the market. That's one. Now with that coming into picture, and then a Gen AI layer on top of it, that changes the game completely. Okay. Now earlier, the companies who had their own in-house LLM or Gen AI models, they claim to have an advantage. However, with OpenAI and Gen AI coming into picture, everybody is on a leveled playground. So we have utilized that efficiently, and we have ensured that we play it to our advantage. And the solutions that we offer today are on par with, say, anyone who is having their in-house models. Okay? If you look at, say, the error rates also, it is like the lowest which is there in the industry, which is comparable with anybody else in the industry. And because of that, the accuracy is much better of, say, our models, whatever insights that we're able to provide. And the efficiencies are also high. So because of all these reasons, the products that we have in-house, the efficiencies have gone up really high. Second, the agent productivities of the agents who are using our products, that has gone up really high. And also, even the bots that we had, which were earlier on, say, FAQ models and other models which is there, their efficiencies have also gone up because now a Gen AI model has come into it to replace the traditional models. So that is also something which is helping us to stand out from the competition.
So many nations like, even in fact India now is focusing and prioritizing on financial inclusion. I wanted to understand from you how digital technology can really add value and also how FIS is, focusing in this journey. Yeah.
Thanks. So, as I manage multiple regions in FIS, okay, if I compare with the other regions and India, basically, India is definitely doing a great job in digital payments and the banking industry. We are ahead, in fact. One of the things which I can say about the UPI, everybody's heard about the UPI. UPI has reached out to every corner of the citizen of the India, basically. And now it has gone to the outside India also, basically, okay. And that is a very successful model which has been, we are updating entire world how the UPI works, basically. And you might have seen our Prime Minister also demonstrating the other nations about how the UPI is successful for our country, basically. So that is one thing. Second thing, if you talk about the FIS perspective, yes, FIS has their own product in terms of banking and the payments. And as we are being a company based out of North America, our all product development happens to North America. But now to address the Indian requirement, we are customizing the product based on the Indian customer requirement, and we are move some of the product, our core banking product, from the traditional core banking to the cloud-based core banking kind of a thing. That is, we call we have one core banking product called Modern Banking Platform, which is in the cloud base, which can be leveraged across multiple banks. And specifically, in India, we have the banking sector like NBFC or small finance bank, where they cannot afford the core banking software, that can be easily available through the services which are available in the cloud. So we are leveraging that kind of things. We are making our product enable on the cloud so that, all these financial institutes can utilize that particular core banking product kind of a thing. Second thing, in India, we started one model called Bank in Box, okay, which is like a share model, okay, for a majority of the NBFC and the small finance bank, where they are not able to invest into so much in IT and so much into the developing the bank, basically. So in that case, we are giving that share model to them so that they can start their banking business on that line. And some of the bank has moved from small finance bank to the now licensed bank from the RBI, which has happened. So that kind of a model, changes we are making in the FIS to address the Indian customer requirements.
All right, this has been great. We really, covered great pointers, and I personally learned a lot about the trends of Gen AI and how the sector is progressing, how Exotel is really working extensively on, helping their customers, and also learned a lot from the FIS perspective on their journey as well. So really great. Thank you so much, and I truly appreciate you taking out time and joining us today. But before we end, I have actually kept a surprise package, which is the rapid fire round, right? This is something that, I really want you to call it out fast. So I will be asking questions. Whatever comes in your mind, I want you to say it out, right? So it will do it as a proper rapid fire round. Cool? Yeah. Perfect. So we'll begin with you, sir, first. And here's my first question. Your favorite app that you've enjoyed using recently?
Mint.
Mint, okay. Outside of your professional endeavors, what one thing that helps you unwind and recharge?
So I like sports.
Okay.
So normally when I got a free time, then I have either I do the swimming or I play the cricket.
Okay. Top priority for personal growth this year?
I want to become CIO for one of the largest bank in India.
All right. Okay. A word of advice you'd like to give the young and aspiring individuals looking forward to make their space in this industry?
Yeah, the technology changes happening in India very fast. Okay, definitely this is the opportunity for the young generation to learn and grow. So they have to develop their competency in terms of what is the latest technology available in the market, so that it is going to help them, their career, as well as it is going to help the country.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Sachith, as someone deeply involved in digital transformation, what's one piece of technology or gadget that you can't live without in your day-to-day life?
Has to be my phone.
Okay. We all have mentors or figures who've influenced our careers. Can you tell us about someone who had a significant impact on your professional journey?
Yeah, so one of my early mentors was when I was working with Tally.
Okay.
So he was my manager and his name is Basvesh. And I learned how to interact with businesses from him, and I still when I walk into a meeting, I always ensure that whatever I learned from there, I carry forward even today. So that is still imbibed in me. So I ensure that, and I consider that he is one person from whom I've learned sales, and that has helped me in my career as well.
Lovely, Basvesh. If you're watching this is a compliment for you. Okay. Amidst the hustle and bustle of tech industry, how do you prioritize spending quality time with family and loved ones, and your favorite traditions or rituals that you cherish?
Okay, so I have a 3-year-old at home. So the one thing which I have to mandatorily do once I get back home is take her to the children's park. So that has now become a ritual. I have no other option but to comply.
All right. Thinking back to your early career days, what's one piece of advice you wish you could go back and give to your younger self as you were starting out in the tech industry?
If you want to do entrepreneurship, start early.
Okay.
Okay, it's important because once, say, a stage passes, it becomes difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. It becomes difficult. It's easier if you start early.
All right. Great. This has been great. Thank you so much. And I look forward to having many more conversations in the future. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.